Hello, everybody. Welcome, those of you who are about to join us. Welcome to Phoenix. We're watching a couple of airplanes land here. Captain Jack just about ready to get us going here. Want to thank you so much for joining us here, and welcome to Phoenix to Burbank tonight in Colorado 1, the 737 from Southwest, and we're going to get started and get everything going here. Got a little in-flight entertainment going on another screen over here with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Denver Broncos, so that'll be our in-flight football game tonight. And got a few new things here to show you in the sim, and hope you enjoy our flight there. Graham, good morning. Yeah, Graham over in the British Isles there. Graham, you'll have to put up on the chat there exactly where you are. But welcome. Good to see you. Scott, hello. Scott, Pilot Scott is here, K0SAH. And let's see. Let me go ahead and... we'll get up here and get some things started, take a look at the view from Phoenix here. I was watching it just a few moments ago. I've got live traffic in here tonight, which is kind of cool. And I saw a Southwest jet heading for runway 25 right here in Phoenix. Oh, and look, somebody's landing over here. Let's go over to the other side. And you might notice a Southwest jet coming in here, landing at Phoenix. Looks like they're coming in on runway 26 over there on the north side of the airport, if you can see that on your flight simulator screen. All right, let's get in here and get started. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to run our fire tests. I've not been doing that before, but I wanted to show you what the pilots do before they start inputting all the information and everything into the computers, as they will do some tests of all the emergency gear. So let's test our fire here. Let me turn the sound up a little bit. All right, fire test and indicators are good. Did some stuff with the audio. Let's check our stall warning. All right, stall warning. Both pilot and co-pilot. That's our Mach overspeed warning, so those all test up good. I'm in the process of learning how to do this more and more, so we will explore that as we go. But as usual, we're going to go ahead and get into the FMC and start setting up everything that we need to do. So we'll bring up our SimBrief flight plan over here, and we'll take a look at our payload tonight. Our payload, we're going to have a total of 28,520 pounds of payload. That includes passengers and cargo. So our cargo is at 6,280. That means that our we're going to half that for the cargo front and rear cargo areas on the airplane. So 6820 is going to divide into 3410. So we'll enter 34 and 10 there. 3,410 pounds in the forward cargo, 3,410 pounds in the rear cargo bay. Now, of course, you know, that may or may not be exactly what the weights are, but they do weigh the baggage, they do count the passengers and weigh them, and they figure out exactly how much weight the airplane is going to be carrying. All right, so now let's go to our fuel. Our blocked fuel, our fuel that we're going to need for the trip is 13,589 pounds. We're going to add a reserve fuel of about 2.0 or 2,066 pounds. So that's going to come out to 15,000, we'll call it 15,650. So we'll add a total of 15,650 pounds of fuel aboard the aircraft. That gives us a total 34%. That's all the fuel plus the reserve fuel that we'll need for the flight to Burbank. All right, we've got that set. And we'll let the passengers board once again. If we go outside the aircraft, we can see that our passengers are going to be boarding here through the jetway. Beautiful sunny day in Phoenix. Actually using live weather, however, we have shifted the time a little bit so that we can have a full daylight flight. So you'll be able to see all the scenery between here and Southern California. The approach into Burbank's pretty cool, pretty spectacular. So we'll look forward to seeing that here in just a few minutes. All right, let's go back into the flight deck here, and I'm going to minimize this for just a moment. We're going to start going through some of the checklists. So let's get our pre-flight checklist. All right, parking brake is on, battery is on, and I've turned some of the systems on already. Our battery is on, our ground power is gone. We'll measure our ground power voltage. That looks good up here. The emergency lights are on. We'll go ahead now and get our seatbelts on auto. And I'm hoping you guys can hear all the tones and everything a little bit more here this week, as I did a bunch of stuff with the audio. All right, that being done, let's go ahead and we're in nav mode already, so we've got our nav switches set where they need to be. Cab and utility power are already on, so that's all good. Emergency exit lights, that is on. No smoking, we don't worry about that. Nobody smokes on aircraft anymore. And we'll turn on the anti-collision lights and the probe, and the strobe is steady at the moment. All right, window heat, we're going to go up and turn those on. I'm going to go ahead and pop on the probe heat. Normally we might not do that until after engine start, but I'm going to go ahead and set that up anyway. Our IRS and airport references have already been set. We've got that in here for Phoenix with the longitude and latitude, so that looks good. All right, we're going to set up our route, KPHX, which is Phoenix SkyHarbor, and we're going to be going to Burbank, Bob Hope Airport. So we've got that. We're going to be using our company route here this evening, so that's going to be KPHX to KBUR. All right, we'll input that. We're going to be Southwest Airlines. Today's date is 10/12, so we're going to be Southwest Airlines 10/12. All right, got that entered in. We're going to be taking off on runway. I've already looked at this. We're going to be taking off on 25 right. Let's go ahead and set that into the FMC. And we're going to activate, and we're going to execute. All right, our perf and F. This is where we go ahead and start putting in our flight plan, as we looked on our sim brief panel just a little while ago. Okay, we've got 13.6 total block fuel or trip fuel. So we'll enter that in there. Our reserves, our FinRes is, we'll call it 2.1. And enter that in there. Our cost index is 17 here for this flight. Our cruise altitude is flight level 360, so that goes in. Our cruise wind will go to our top of climb. And we'll see our cruise wind right here is 269 at 051 from 269. Let's go ahead and punch that in. All right, our N1 limit is pretty well set, so we don't need to change anything there at this point. Our flaps are going to be flaps 5 as normal. Our center of gravity is 23.4. Let's see, we need to go back. It's not giving me my, oh yeah, zero fuel weight. Actually, I'm going to go back to the flight plan and check that zero fuel weight number. That's a little low automatically there. Yeah, we should be up around 118.5. So I'm going to enter in 118.5 on the zero fuel weight. All right, that looks better. That's more about what we were after. Let's check our trim. All right, our trim. We're going to roll that up, or actually down in this case, to about 5.44, so about halfway between the 5 and the tick mark there. All right, let me see who else is here with us tonight. Scott. Thanks, Scott. Yeah, Don says, can I use my rapid rewards points for this flight? Absolutely, Don. And they just keep adding up, so that'll be good. Let's see, challenging landings in the CRJ2. I bet Burbank is probably tough with that. We're going to be landing, at least at this point, Scott, on runway 08. And I've landed on that one many times before, although that's only about a 5,000-foot runway. So you've really got to be slowed down, have your speed brakes ready to go. We're going to land probably at flaps 40, so we'll be trying to get that landing speed down for a landing on runway 08. All right, let's go back back to the checklist once again. All right, we already have turned on the probe heat. The engine and electric hydraulics are in their correct configuration right now. All fuel pumps are off. Trim air, we don't have trim air to switch on this aircraft. However, we do have, let me move the sim brief panel here. We're going to turn on our recircs. We're going to bring our isolation valve to open. We're going to turn our engine bleeds on. We don't need APU bleed on just yet, but we will here in just a moment. We'll be starting up our auxiliary power units. So I'm going to keep going by the checklist over here. All right, fuel is loaded. Cruise and landing altitudes are set. I did this just a little bit earlier. Our pressurization is set to 36,000. Let's go ahead and turn our altitude selector up to 36,000 on the MCP. All right, 36,000 is there. We've set our route, our performance initialization, our altimeter. We're going to hit the B button since we don't have air traffic control telling us what that is. We'll go ahead and set that, and I actually already did it. Our current atmospheric pressure is at 29.65, so that is set and ready to go. All right, we're ready to turn on the APU, so we're going to turn on our aft fuel pump and give our APU a start here, and we're going to wait for the APUs to spool up. Really hope you guys have had a great week. I've looked forward to having you back in for this flight. I'm trying to improve the simulator, just starting out. There's been some settings that I'm working on. You might comment in the chat window how the stream looks, how it looks on your screen there as you're seeing it live on YouTube. I'd be curious to know if the settings that I have made any difference in maybe the quality of the stream coming down. Also the audio. Have done a lot with the audio here since our last flight. All right, it looks like Travis Kelce's about to score a touchdown for the Chiefs. Okay, we're waiting for the APU to settle and the APU gen ready light to come on up here on the overhead. If you're sitting in the pilot's seat, you look up at the overhead kind of like this, and while that works just fine, I kind of like to look at it head on. But now we can turn on the APU gens. All right, that means we are now off ground power, so I can turn ground power off, and we're getting closer to getting ready to start. Let's check our APU generator, and we'll turn our APU bleed on as we continue on down the checklist. That looks good. All right, APU gen is good. We're essentially almost ready for pushback here, and we are going to be going to runway 25 right. Okay, back to the checklist. We're going to turn our flight directors on. Flight directors are now on, and we see them activated on the PFD for both the captain and the first officer. So those are ready to go. Going to roll this back over the map. We're going to make sure we're on radio for the I've lost my train of thought. Okay, we're going to set it to radio for the radio altimeter. That's what I'm after. Okay, minimums are set to radio. So our landing gear is down. Our landing gear lever is down. Our speed brake lever is closed. So there you go. Thrust levers are closed, and the start levers are cut off. All right, we're going to go ahead now and turn on the yaw damper. And now we're also... Let's see, where am I? All right, FS actions. That's where I want to be. Okay, we're going to release the ground power. We're going to release the jetway. And we're going to make sure that the passenger loading door is closed. Let's take a look outside. All right. It's loud out here. You can see we've got some other aircraft. There's a Delta and an American. Hey, look at this. We're watching a Southwest jet land. Or is that a... No, that's not a Southwest jet. Not sure what that is. And there's another one. All right, we got to watch him land. All right, the doors are shut. The APU is started. We need now to go ahead and get our pushback going. So for the moment, I'm going to close the sim brief panel here. And I want to select... Okay, that all looks good. Everything's looking good up here. Okay, we'll worry about setting courses and everything here in just a little bit. The one other thing that we do need to do is to go back down here to our FMC and set up our departure. So we know we're going to be leaving on runway 25 right. We need to bring our SimBrief flight plan back up. Okay, 25 right, we're going to take off via the Keynes 2 star. All right, that's laid in, and the harbor transition. All right, that looks good. We're going to be arriving in Burbank, and we're going to use RNAV on runway 08 via the Thorn 3 star and the Fred transition. All right. Very good. Let's go back and check our legs, make sure that we don't have any vectors or discontinuities. Everything looks pretty good. All right, that came out just the way that we needed it to. Very good. Let's go over here and we'll set our V1 rotation and V2 speeds, 135 and 15. So we're going to set our speed bug to 150. And that's good. All right. I think at this point then, with all of that being done, we are ready for pushback. So let's get set for pushback. Let's see. Scott, you say you use FS LTO for live traffic. I'm actually using the live traffic in the sim. I'm going to have to look over here at this one because I can't read the other one that well. Using SimBrief, of course, yep. Yeah, difficult to pressurize with open doors. Yeah, well, we've got all the doors are shut at the moment. So now we need to get in here and go to our menu and FS Actions, and we're going to get set for pushback. We're just going to do a straight out pushback. Actually, I would like to make it. Now let's go back to standard L. And we're going to turn the nose to the right. We want to turn the nose to the left here. All right, we're going to select our tug. Okay, that's good. And we'll turn up some sounds a little bit so you can hear the chatter and start.
Cockpit to ground. Go ahead. We've been cleared for pushback and start. They want the tail to our right. Copy that, ready to push. Tail to the right. Parking brakes released, please.
Okay, parking brakes are released.
Brakes released.
All right, let's turn on our fuel pumps. Let's make sure that the packs are off.
Here we go.
And we're going to get pushback, and while we're pushing back, we're going to start up number 2. And number 2 is spooling up. Okay, we can introduce fuel. And we're going to let that spool up here just a little bit. Yeah, thanks, Scott. Yeah, single pilot for a two-man crew. Yep, there you go. All right. Number 2 is rolling up just fine. Let's start number 1. And take a look out our passenger window as he spins our tail to the left. Looking out the left wing here. And the right wing. All right. All right, so runway 25 is at about a 2.5 heading. Let's go ahead and introduce fuel to number 2 engine. So we're going to dial up 259. And 259 on the first officer course. Okay, he should be about to stop here. All right, let me go ahead and stop because he should have stopped us before then. And we'll put the brakes on. Okay, brakes are on. All right, let's check our engines. All right, they look good. We're ready to go to the engine gens. Okay, and we'll turn the packs on and isolation valve to auto and bring in our electric engine pumps. All right, the upper overhead looks good. Everything looks good there. Don says, are my dachshunds in the jump seat? You know what? They're definitely not in cargo, that's for sure, Don. Yeah, they could sit in the jump seat. All right, let's see. APU bleed and APU start. We need to go first of all to our engine gens, so let's double check that, make sure that I did turn those on before I turn off the APU. Okay, APU is good. All right, we can get rid of the tug. We're going to go ahead and set our legs here, and on the right FMC, we're going to look at our progress page. All right, we're going to go ahead and clear to taxi. We need to taxi via E12 or D12, E, and E13. So we're going to go ahead and make a left turn. Taxi lights on. Okay, and we're going to make a direct turn to D12. Brakes off. And we're going to set our flaps. Flaps 5. Okay, now I had this happen once before. All right, let's see here. Okay, parking brake is released. There we go. All right, now we'll be able to move. My switch must not have activated. Now, because there is traffic at this airport, we should... Man, that gets loud out there. All right, I'm going to back the aircraft sounds down just a little bit as we start to taxi here. It's not going to be a very long taxi because the end of the runway is just right down here. Okay, I'm going to put the parking brake on. Let's go through the rest of the checklist. All right. Engine start switches to continuous. Let's get that set. Engine start switches to continuous. Auto brake and RTO. We'll put the auto brake into RTO and we're set there. Runway turnoff lights are off. Position lights, everything is on. We are good there. Heading bug is set to runway heading. Our TCAS, anti-traffic collision avoidance system. All right, that's on. We're set to 1200. Since we're not using a VATSIM, I think our next flight we probably will use VATSIM. And we'll go ahead and turn on our LNAV and VNAV. All right, those are set. All right, we're going to take a look. Looks like we're in the clear. And we're going to move forward. Parking brake is off. And we're going to do a southwest turn and burn. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Enjoy the takeoff. All right, engines are at 50%. Let's line up on the center line. And toga, here we go.
Airspeed alive. 80 knots.
Check.
V1. Rotate.
Rotate.
Positive rate of climb.
All right, gear up. Got a little above our climb pitch there, but we're back on it. The retract flaps. All right, it flaps up. Coming through 3,800 feet. There's downtown Phoenix. Look at the view. You can see the stadium down there, the downtown buildings. Phoenix is really pretty doggone spectacular. I love flying in and out of Phoenix in real life, and of course, Flight Simulator does such a great job with this. Okay, we're climbing through 8,200 feet. Pretty spectacular. All right, we're at 10,000 feet. Landing lights are going to go off. And we're going to hit command on the autopilot. There's the airport. The mountain scenery is just tremendous, isn't it? right, guys, we'll go ahead and come on back up to the flight deck. I'm going to bring the sounds down just a little bit. And let's bring the camera on board there. You see, Graham says real shadows as well. Excellent. Scott says I use a Z-axis joystick myself to simulate the nose wheel tiller to steer on the ground. Yeah, you know, Scott, one of these days I'm going to set something up similar to that. I'd like to get actually one of the nose wheel tillers, you know, to maybe put over on the side here in the simulator. So once again, we're flying a little bit earlier in the afternoon. We're not flying in real time. The sun, of course, is a lot higher in the sky there than what we might normally see it. Let's see, the Chiefs are up 3-0. Got them in on the entertainment screen over here. So we'll fly on. Let's see. Oh, you know, and I've got this on the checklist. I need to reset my clock. So there's the clock reset. We're due to land in Burbank in about, I think, 45 minutes, it looks like. And we're 72 nautical miles out from the top of the climb. Flight Simulator just renders Arizona. It renders everything so magnificently. Pull that up. I'll tell you, that's what Phoenix looks like from the air. So yeah, I hope you guys have had a good week. Scott says Arizona haze. Yes, Scott, definitely that. We're using real weather conditions, even though we're not using the real time of day. And let's see, in about 4 minutes, we're going to hit our next waypoint. So yeah, we're actually about, okay, 56 minutes from hitting Burbank. Once again, I want to thank all of you for joining Captain Jack here tonight. A couple of things that I would tell you about that you'll definitely want to check out is there's some really good, let's reset to a standard altimeter here since we're at 20,000 feet. We should have done that about 18,000. There's a guy I really like to watch. His name is Captain Canada. He does this flight simming stuff so magnificently. He really does an amazing job. His landings are always smooth as butter, and the guy just blows me away at how good his flights are. Okay, let's see. I'm going to make one little adjustment here. And sometime here pretty soon, guys, I'm going to do a video, kind of a little tour of the flight simulator that I'll just put up on YouTube so you can see all of the stuff that you don't normally see on camera here. That would be really cool. All right. Coming to 23,000 feet, climbing out to 36,000. And we're at about 300 knots almost that you can see here on our PFD. Autopilot is in command, so this is where, Scott, you'll be well familiar with this. This is where real pilots just kind of sit back and talk to ATC and monitor systems and do any other paperwork or whatever they may have going on. I'll go ahead here and show you guys the map. There's Buckeye, Arizona, and Phoenix that we just left. And we're going to cruise our flight path on over towards Burbank. We're making a right-hand turn, as you can see now. Once again, don't forget to smash that thumbs up button. Go ahead and give me a like there if you wouldn't mind. That would be absolutely fantastic. I would appreciate that. Let's see. Scott says 3D printed a tiller handle based on the CRJ. Haven't built a joystick controller yet. You know, Scott. There's a lot of plans for that. It shouldn't be overly difficult to do, and if you do that, I'd like to know. I want to build a tiller for steering around on the ground too. That would be really outstanding. By the way, wherever you may be watching, I'd love to know where you're watching tonight. If you're not one of my regular guys there and you'd like to let me know where you're watching, I would really appreciate getting to hear from and see you there. All right, we're flying over an alert area just off our right wing here. The maps say concentrated student jet transition training in this area. Looking at the sectional map here that I'm looking at as we're flying over this part of Arizona. Let's take a look outside the aircraft here. One thing I really love about this view too is you are able to leave up the instrumentation. As you can see, yeah, right there. No, right there. Although my camera is kind of blocking it in one spot there. Okay, wonder if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and put them up in the window. Would love to get to answer those for you if we can. Like I said, I've been working on some new things for the simulator, and hope that those of you who might join me here on a Thursday night live enjoy it. If you don't, you can always watch the replay, and I appreciate all of you being here for sure. All right, 289 knots. We're coming through flight level 308 and hitting up on 31,000 feet. This is cool. You can see another aircraft up in the air just off to the upper right there of our aircraft. You know, I should pull a little nav map up here, and we'd be able to see some of these other flights. All right. Yeah, I'll show you what I'm looking at here. We'll pull a little nav map over onto the screen, and you can see here's our aircraft in yellow. And that aircraft that we're seeing up off our nose to the right is Southwest Airlines at 36,000 feet. Looks like we've got a couple right off the nose. Not sure if we'll be able to see them or not just yet. Oh, yeah, there's somebody's contrail right up there. I can see it on my screen. Not sure if it's translating over to yours. Yeah, Graham says on-screen controls is clever. Yeah, that actually allows you to watch everything while you're outside the aircraft, looking at it while you're flying here. Just these pictures, I take a lot of screenshots from time to time because they're absolutely gorgeous. Cannot believe that Kansas City is leading the Broncos 3-0 with 6:39 left in the second quarter, it looks like. All right, we'll go back up onto the flight deck and just do some more checks. We're coming up on 36,000 feet as we can see our top of climb. Coming up on the MFD, we can also see all the other airline traffic around us and approximately how far away they are. This is a 10-mile circle and a 20-mile circle. So we're coming up on 36,000 feet top of climb. And in just a moment, we'll get our top of descent. So, okay, top of descent has just come up, 69 miles away. And, or 60, yeah, 68 nautical miles away at this point. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to start looking up the information on Burbank on my other iPad here. All right. So we want KBUR. I don't really have a way to show you guys this just yet. So what I'll do for the moment is I'll kind of show you. I'm using another iPad here with a program called flightplan.go. And I'm going to look up our procedures. We know we're using an RNAV procedure for runway 08, the RNAV Z, as a matter of fact. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be if it'll show up on the camera. Yeah, it's not going to show up very, very well. I'll try to figure out some other way to get this up on the main screen so I can show you guys in the future. But the airport elevation is 727 feet. So I'm going to set our altitude at this point for 700 feet when we begin our descent. And since we don't have any ATC guiding us in at this point, I'll just be my own air traffic control. All right, and if we check our flight plan, and I think I've done this with you guys before. We'll turn our PFD over to the flight plan. Here's our aircraft. We're coming up on Fred, as you can see, in another 9 miles. So we're going to step through the flight plan and see all the waypoints as we come in. Trying to, oh, we've got a vector, so we need to fix that. I didn't catch the vector before, so that's why we're reviewing the flight plan here. Yep, I was seeing an error there anyway, so good. All right, and we'll execute that. Now let's step through the flight plan again. Okay, there's our turn back to the airport. Okay, it's also telling me we have no descent plan after Wesky. All right, so I'm going to look at my flight plan here. Let me go ahead and reverse these screens for you. Okay. Okay, from Westgate, it's just a straight descent in. So what I want to look at now, yeah, Westgate is straight descent into runway 08. Okay, that gives us kind of a look at everything. All right, so it's going to be a real visual landing. Let me double check. What thought we were on the RNAV-Z, RNAV-Y. I'm going to change this to RNAV-Z because that actually gives us a few more waypoints in between. So let's go back and check the flight plan. Yep, discontinuity there. We'll change that and execute. Okay, that's more of what I wanted to see. So I just changed this from the RNAV-Y to the RNAV-Z. And RNAV, I'll explain RNAV real quick. And Scott, you'll understand this. Let's see, nice aircraft models on your shelf. Oh, yeah, up behind me here. Yeah, I'll have to pull one of those down maybe and show you here in just a minute. Let me make sure that our flight plan is good. I can see our top of descent coming into range here. And I'll tell you right now, Burbank is off over here in the mountains in the distance. I've flown this a few times before, and recognizing the mountains of Southern California. The big lake off over here, and the Chiefs just scored a touchdown. Let me go back to my map. Yeah, that's the Salton Sea. So the big lake off there, off to the left, is the Salton Sea. I'm pointing at my screen up here, but you guys see that. Yeah, Scott says always backed up his visual approaches with the ILS in Burbank just to be safe. You know, Scott, you're very, very correct. That is true. You should do that. And I'll tell you right now, I hope I hit this landing real well because you're a real pilot, so you're going to be able to give me a grade here. This approach can be a little tricky. So I also know that we're going to go ahead and preset our course to 079. I am going to check our winds and make sure that that's going to be an appropriate runway to land on. And I'm going to back set our course because we're just going to fly on in. All right. So what I'm going to do now, and I'll show you guys this software here on the screen. You can see my FMC that I've been using, but we're going to look for the METAR TAF for Burbank. So let's bring that up. There's our Aviation Weather Center. That's not what I'm after. Here we go. Okay, so there's Burbank. We're going to pull it up, and you know, the wind is out of the south, so it wants us to land on runway 15. That would be quite a crosswind. So you know what, guys? We're going to have to change our approach. So let me look at the chart here again. Scott, how many times did you have to change your approach on stuff? And you know what? We're going to have to use the force. They call it the 4 stacks visual for runway 15. So they just made this one a little trickier because the wind is coming out of the south, as we saw in that. So we're going to have to reset for runway 15. So everybody stay with me here just a minute. And we've started our descent. Yep, we're starting on descent profile, as we can see in the MFD. So now I'm going to have to change my arrival in Burbank. Okay, I should show you guys what I'm doing here on the FMC. All right. Yeah, I know you're not going to give me a descent path after IGAXI. All right, so we're going to continue on to descend here. We're through flight level 327. All right, they just made tonight's flight really tricky on me. Being as I have no ATC, we're going to use a little nav map. Okay. Okay, and the chart tells me that we'll be at IGAXI here, and then on into runway 15. Scott says he did many strong crosswind landings in my career, challenging at times. Yeah, I can imagine so. I can imagine so. All right, well, we're going to see how this goes. We're going to continue to let the aircraft and the FMC and the computer guide us. We're on descent profile. That looks good. Coming through flight level 285. And our speed is good. And yeah, Burbank is going to be right over in here. So we're going to go down between these two mountains. Really hazy in Southern California today too, it looks like. Let's see if I do this. I can see the chat window a lot better. All right, we'll continue our descent here. Let's go through our descent checklist. Engine start switches are at continuous. We're going to set our QNH for Burbank tonight, so we need to get our QNH there. So I'm going to go back. I did not look at this a moment ago. So I tell you what, I'm going to pull this up on this computer. Yeah, you know, that was only a 6-knot crosswind too, Scott. So I may go back to my original flight plan here. Let's see, 29.74. Yeah, I think we're going to go ahead and go back to our original flight plan, because that crosswind is nothing to email Mama about, you know. All right, so let's go back to our arrival. We're going to do the RNAV Z08. Let's look at our flight plan one more time. Okay, Thorn 3, and we're already past Fred rather. So Thorn 3, and we're going to execute. Let's look at our legs and make sure those look correct. Get rid of the discontinuity. And get rid of the vector. Okay. Yeah, there we go. We're heading down through, down there. All right. Yeah, 6-knot crosswind is nothing. I'm not going to be the least bit concerned about that. And I wanted to land on runway 08 anyway. Let's see, Silex, then Bubney. I'm going to add another waypoint back into here. All right. And then prior to Silex, that should give us let's double check our flight plan one more time. So let's go into the plan. And yeah, I thought maybe we might have a small issue there. And we've got a loop here we don't need. So we really don't need Ned. All right, good. Clear that out. There's our discontinuity. Was expecting that. All right, that's gonna should straighten us out. All right, let's take a look out the left side of the airplane. I should know the name of this valley. I don't right off the top of my head. JD Bodine. JD's here. Guess I should have asked you what time your live stream was. Generally speaking, JD, they start about 6:30. Is going to be the time, 6:30 Mountain Time. Going to be the times that I'm going to try to get the streams going here. Hey, William. Hey, man, I love you too. Good to see you. My son William's here tonight. Really appreciate getting to see William. William, we're flying into Burbank, California from Phoenix, just in case you didn't know. And we'll be landing here probably in the next 20 minutes or so. So welcome in. We're already over Southern California, having left Arizona. And man, I'm glad you're here. Thanks for watching, William. My son William there. Yeah, I should know more of the names of the places in the geography here in Southern California. All right, we do have one issue there in the flight plan that I'm going to have to correct. So let me take a look back here. We want to be at Silex, then Bubney, Tokes, Silex, Bubney. Okay, I see where our problem is here. At least I think I do. One more time. Let me look up here. All right, and I said our altimeter is going to be 2974. Let's set to altimeter for 2974. Okay, as we continue to descend here. Okay, my FMC is still throwing me a little bit of a curveball there. Okay, and we're going to set our ILS up just as Scott suggested as a backup there, so I think that's probably a real good idea. Okay, our localizer for that is 109.5. So we're going to set our nav radio for 109.5 on both nav 1 and nav 2. Okay, those are set. My FMC is showing me an odd curve off here. I'm not sure why it's doing that. We'll see what happens here when we hit. Actually, I think you know what? I think we'll just get rid of Buffoon. I like the way they named some of these. Oh, I see what the problem is. We've got Buffoon logged in there twice. Yeah, this is what we're going to do. All right. I like that better. Hey, Scott, you know, I'm wondering, when you were fooling around with your FMC, did it ever throw you some curveballs on occasion? That would be interesting. In the real world, when my FMS got too messed up, I would just ask ATC for a delay vector or direct to a waypoint on the approach. Okay, very good. Yeah, that's kind of what we've done here. And you know what else I think we're going to do is, because that did throw me that curveball, we're going to change to the ILS on runway 08. And then I'm going to vector myself in and pretend that I am ATC. Okay, this is making me think a little bit more tonight, guys. All right. Yeah, Scott says managing flight system navigation is a complicated skill. Yeah, it definitely is. It really has taught me an awful lot of things here. All right, I need to get my bearings on where we are. Coming over Yucaipa and Calamasa, over San Bernardino. All right, we're flying essentially for Silex. So I'm going to go back to my FMC, go back to the LEDs page, and I'm going to advance Silex, and we're going to fly essentially directly for Silex. That will set us up for the proper approach. And actually, I think I'm going to add one more waypoint into that. T-O-A-K-S, Tokes. Tango Oscar Alpha Kilo Sierra. So let's add in T-O-A Alpha Kilo Sierra. That should give us plenty of approach capability. All right, we are on descent profile. We're at 11,400 feet. The airport is actually going to be off over in this area, off the nose. Look out over the Los Angeles basin there. One day we'll have to fly into LAX. Yeah, this is Moreno Valley right below us. And San Bernardino off of our right wing. That's SBD San Bernardino Airport. There's another jet way off in the sky up there. I can see his lights. I'm going to go ahead and throw our landing lights and taxi lights on. We'll go ahead and be visible even though we're only at 10.9. All right, we're going to continue on down on this profile. And the airplane seems to be pretty happy with it. Scott says, don't cross the Kilo Victor November Yankee Airport too low. That's a gotcha in the real world. For many pilots unfamiliar with the area, it's published on the appropriate plate. You know, Scott, in the real world, what's the story with that? Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, KBNY. Might mention that if you get a chance there. Okay, we're going to be flying right over Ontario. And the flight profile here will keep us high enough over Ontario, so that's good. Here's throttling back just a little bit as the speed is reduced to get us at 250 or below, at 10,000 feet or below. The FMC is controlling the speed and doing that. Traffic pattern altitude for KVNY airports right under the final for runway A to KBUR. Of course it is. Okay, well, we will essentially do what the FMC is telling us at this point, Scott. Good tip there, though. All right. Okay, and I should. Okay, there it is. All right. I'm going to be able to vector myself in. Okay, so minimums. Let's go ahead and set up for our minimums. It's 348 feet. That's not going to be a problem here. But let's set up our minimums. You can see that I actually need to change it to Barrow, and you'll look over on the PFD, and we're getting somebody's outer marker there. And we're doing a minimum of 348 feet. Okay. Scott says, yeah, that's the beauty of simulations, no FAA violations. And I think we're all right at the moment. Okay, I'm not going to need a little nav map over here anymore. One thing I do want to do is set up my fixed rings. So I'm going to select runway 08. I'm going to go to fix. And we're going to set up the 5-mile ring, 10-mile ring, and the 15-mile ring. I'm not showing you guys this, which I should be. But we're using our fixed page. Okay. All right, and we're going to do our, all right, 11.1, 10.7, that's 0.4. We're going to set up our approach ref. It's going to be 129.2. Our weight at landing. So we'll set that. And we're going to go ahead and use flaps 40 and a speed of 132. Okay, that's good. We're going to have a pretty tight turn back into the runway. So I think I'm going to end up doing a heading vector change. I'm going to kind of wait and see what my distance rings are going to tell me here. Yeah, I think we're going to do that. All right, we're going to turn left to a heading of 255. And what that's going to do is that's going to give us a little bit more of a turn into Silex and make our approach not quite so short. Now, I didn't lock my landing gear. All right. Okay, we're continuing to descend, coming up on 7,000 feet. Because this is Burbank, I'm going to set our auto brakes to maximum because, as I recall, that was only a 6,000 foot runway, fine for a 737, but we're going to go ahead and give ourselves the maximum amount of braking that we can. Yeah, thanks, Scott. All those passengers are counting on me. Or at least 3 of us anyway, right? Me, myself, and I. Well, no, and you guys too. All right. Everything's looking pretty good. Thanks again for joining me tonight. This has been a lot of fun. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. Descent is fine. Let's take a look outside the airplane here. Hey, how about that? That's the Rose Bowl over there, I think. Southern California. All right. Hey guys, if you would, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you would. I would really appreciate it. Graham says, great views. All right, we're coming through 5,950 feet. All right, we're going to continue on this path. I don't want us to go below 3,000 feet. Check one more thing on our FMC, because we will turn to Tokes shortly. Okay, they don't want us to be below 4,000 feet in this area, so we're going to continue our slow descent. Our speed is good. Landing lights, taxi lights are on. All right, we're going to come right to 267. And so Burbank is just off to our right. Let's take a look outside the aircraft. Yeah, and Burbank's right over here. Okay, we're descending well. 4,800 feet. I think I want us to descend just a little more. So we're going to hit right above 4,100 feet, and I'm going to put the vertical navigation back in. Okay, vertical navigation is set. And we are heading for some mountains there. Actually, I wanted to be at 4,000 feet. Yeah, I see that, Scott. The 4,000 foot restriction does keep you above it. Yeah, I'm kind of reading the chart over here that you guys can't see, and trying to set myself up for a vector right before we get to Tokes, which will then take us to 3,700 feet, as you can see on the PFD. And Silex is at 3,700. think I'm going to start manually controlling the speed a little bit. I want to get us down to about 220. Turn to 270. Yeah, so we're a little low on the altitude. Pilot error, so we'll go ahead and climb at 500 feet per minute. Get ourselves back up to 4,000 feet. And we're going to get ready here in just a moment to make our turn to Silex. Boy, my FMC is really having an issue here. Okay, I think I fixed it. Okay, and execute, and we're going to go back to the VNAV and LNAV, which will take us into, if I can press the mouse button here. Okay, there we go. All right, we're at 4,000 feet. We're heading for Silex. This is looking good. This is our turn over the hills of Southern California. And we're going to make our turn back into the airport. All right, everything looks good on profile. And then we'll just manage the speed and head on in. We'll let the airplane even herself up on the localizer. And there's the airport in the distance. We can see it off over at the foot of the mountain. All right, we're looking good. Okay, let's bring our speed down to 210 and 1 notch of flaps. Actually, I don't want to notch the flaps just yet. Going to arm the secondary MFD. And we're at 3,980 feet as we cruise in. All right, you can see the lights of the runway off in the distance there, over the nose of the aircraft. Take a look out the wing there. Okay, we're going to arm the approach. All right. to go ahead and give ourselves flaps 2. Bring our speed bug down. We're a little above the glide slope, so here we go. I'm going to hand flyer in. All right, we're going to lower our gear. We're going to come to flaps 15. Okay. Going to get back on the glide slope, but we're right on the localizer, so we're looking good. Flaps 15. All right, we're going to reduce our speed some more. We're going to arm our speed brake.
2500.
Speed brake is armed. We're going to go to flaps 30. All right, gear is down, 3 green and locked. Okay, this is, we're a little higher than I want to be on the glide slope here. And my stupid mouse wheel is locking on me. Okay, here we go. I have the throttles. And flaps 40. Okay, guys.
1000.
Welcome to Burbank. You see how short that runway is. Yeah, there we go. This is going to be a good landing. Okay. We're a little low on speed from where I'd want to be, but we're coming in and doing okay.
400.
And we're a little off center line. We'll get back on. Remember that we've got that crosswind. Seems like it's died down though. Yeah, this is going to be fine. Throttle down slowly. See our shadow. Let's hit
50,
the landing zone.
40, 30, 20.
Yep. Come on, touchdown. I think we had a bounce. Okay, we bounced. Yeah, I was a little high on that approach. Thrusters reverse. All right. Welcome to Burbank. Wasn't the prettiest landing in the world, but you know what? I think that was probably just fine. Okay, so let's slow up here and pick a gate. Landing lights off. And there we go. Okay. Yeah, that's not the super duperest landing. Okay, slow up here. Don't crash into the building. All right, and here we are. Parking brake set. Okay, we're going to wait a minute and we need to start the APU. Okay. Scott says it's okay to have a solid landing in KBUR, standard SOP at SkyWest, and want to get close to the end. Yeah, all right. You know, that was definitely a little bit more of a rougher, I'll say rougher landing. We're going to get a replay of it. We're going to take a look at that here in just a minute. Let's wait for the APU to come up. All right, APU is coming up. The first officer would have turned that on before with the checklist, and as you can see coming into Burbank too, you're landing right beside the terminal. It's pretty crazy. All right, we're waiting for the APU to come on there, as you can see, and then we'll wait to get the green gen APU light. Okay, there we go. Now we can go ahead and power the airplane with the APU. APU bleed is on. And turn off our fuel pumps. Take our switches to 0. And take the engines down. All right, engines are coming down. We're going to go to our FMC. And here in Burbank, you don't use a jetway, you actually use stairs. Let's set our chocks and going to request ground power. And we're waiting for the engines to completely spool now. We don't have an air marshal, so I'm not quite up far enough. Hey, we're watching another Southwest jet take off there. Let's bring the sounds down just a little bit. All right, guys, let's see. Let's watch this jet take off, and then we'll see what our landing looked like. I know there was a bounce there. Okay, he's taxiing off to the other taxiway. All right. Okay, now we can request the stairs, and we can start deboarding passengers. And for some reason or another, the simulator shows another airplane right in on top of us. Okay, this happens from time to time. So what we're going to do is we're going to watch our landing. So we're going to come back here. We're going to go to the PMDG setup. We're going to go state load. I'm going to bring those up a little bit. We're going to set up for our final, and we're going to execute. Okay, there we go. We're going to execute that. And I'm going to come over to my player, and we're going to hit replay.
Don't sink. Don't sink.
And we're going to hear a bunch of this kind of stuff. Okay, here we go. All right, let's see what our landing looks like. Above the glide slope, you know, we're right on the money. But we floated a little bit, and nose came up good. We're pretty high because we were. Okay, let's see what we look like here. A little bit too much nose up. I'm trying to slow it down. Ah, we landed left, little bounce. Oh no, there's a bounce. Okay, well, what do you do? All right, let's go back in here and watch it from the passenger eye view, as it were, and hit replay, and we'll see what it looked like or how much we bounced somebody's head off the ceiling here. Right, not one of my better landings. Yeah, if we hadn't had that little side step, although it didn't look bad from that side. Okay, let's go back and replay out the right-hand window and see what we got here. Yeah, this was not one of my better landings. Scott says looks like a standard Southwest landing. I don't know about that, there we go. All right, and we'll do one more view from the cockpit here on the incoming.
Too low. Great. Too low.
And just
Great.
ignore all the
Too low.
warnings. Yep, there's
Too
our
low.
little bounce
Great.
up. And you know, we landed at a really, really low speed. Yeah, there's just not much about this landing I'm happy with. But hey, there's Colorado 1 sitting over there where we were. All right, guys. Well, doggone, that was fun. We'll go ahead and get rid of the aircraft. No, not that one. Okay. Hello. All right, I'm going to pause the simulation here, and we'll stop that. And I'll go ahead and just bring up the camera here. I'm working on all my controls and everything. So I want to thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for flying with me. Hope you had a great time. We will certainly see you next week. I think we're going to stay with our California theme here a little bit and either fly from Burbank to Las Vegas, or we'll maybe fly to San Francisco. San Francisco's fun. It's really a pretty flight. So I think with that, we'll go ahead and call it a night and wrap it up. Thank you for being here. Thanks, everybody. Graham, Scott, William, anybody else who was watching or still may be watching, thanks for being here. And we will see you next week here in the Flight Sim. God bless you. Have a wonderful week. Hello. Okay, there I am. All right. Good night, everyone.